thing, then flex it. Otherwise, you may have avulsion of ligamentum patelli. As I told you, midvastus, it gives excellent exposure and take out all the meniscus. And what is the secret of success? Achieve rectangular space, and it should be equal space in mid flexion or extension, or mid flexion maybe 1 to 2 millimeter more than extension. And usually we achieve 18 millimeter to 20 millimeter of space either in extension or flexion, because this space is required to accommodate the prosthesis. जो हम prosthesis पॉली डालते हैं उसके लिए इतना space की ज़रूरत होती है. So we achieve that. These are the various principles. I will not go into detail. I think this will be discussed by other coming speakers. Now there is a deformity correction and release. Do not go pre-operative deformity. Sometimes under anesthesia they are correctable, and sometimes they are over-correctable. Over-correctable means patient is having bone defects as well. So decision of release should be taken under anesthesia. As Dr. Arora told you, कि मैं बहुत ज़्यादा release में विश्वास नहीं करता हूँ. I also agree with that. Especially in the flat knee, you can see in this, never ever try to achieve at full extension on the table in rheumatoid or inflammatory knee. I get lot of inflammatory knee because, as I told you, we have clinics, and you can compromise up to 5 to 10 degree deformity. Later on, within a week or two, this deformity is very easily corrected if you are taking care of physiotherapy. Few points about the lax knee. एक lax knee, do not go by the jigs. Take minimum. जो jig बोल रही है उतना नहीं काटना है, उससे कम काटना है. That is the principle of how to operate a lax knee with arthritis. So now this is table how to equalize the flexion and extension space. I think this will be dealt by other surgeons, so I will not go into the detail. As I told you, both space should be equal and rectangular. And now question is cementing. Usually cement penetration is also important in total knee arthroplasty. 3 to 5 millimeter penetration is good in trabeculae. Ideally 100% surface should be cemented. This is fantastic cadaver study from Sweden. I have taken all these material from that study. And peripheral, usually few implant they have peripheral lip, so they do not allow escape of the cement, so it gives better penetration. And first of all, cementing करने से पहले you have to create a fantastic bed for the cementing. What is the good bed for the cementing? Surface should be clean, dry, and hard bone you can drill it. In the hard you can drill. So it should be good surface. जब surface अच्छी होगी तभी penetration होगा, तभी cementing अच्छी होगी. So if you do not have pressure lavage, it is very costly. And do with the forceful that syringe, you can use that, clean it, suck it. So create a good bed. Now a few that cadaver studies say, look, first of all, few points. Femoral component usually is less than tibia. It is uncommon. And there is a, if you cement the femoral component, distal cut में बहुत अच्छी cementing होती है, किसी भी तरीके से करो आप. Even आप केवल implant में भी लगा दो, no problem. If the distal cut, excellent cementing. Issue remains with the anterior condyle and posterior condyle. For the anterior condyle surface and posterior condyle, you should put cement on the bone all around. You should press it with the thumb, and you should put over the component as well. So according to this cadaver study, this is the best way to cementing. दोनों पे डालो, thumb से pressurize करो. Thumb is useful everywhere in the world. And even in the total hip arthroplasty, you can use this thumb for the pressurization. So that is the ideal way how to cement the femoral component. Similar is here. ये बहुत सारा this photograph is taken from the same study. इन्होंने कहा खाली component, if you put only on the component, if you put only on the bone, both techniques are bad. If you put on both but do not pressurize with the thumb, that is also not very good. So you apply cement on the both the things, pressurize it, then you will get excellent result. And that graph they have shown like that. So in broad sense, technical error should not be there at any stage, like soft tissue balancing, bone cut, cementing, avoid infection, whether it is early or late, implant itself, and patient factor, they are also, you have to take care of all these aspects. So message is, it is absolutely job of surgeons, everything is important. I have already discussed, I will not repeat these things. And tibial cut, femoral cut should be at the 90 degree of the mechanical axis. Do not internally rotate any component, and either it is parallel to the epicutalar axis or maybe little external, but do not internally rotate. Do not overstuff any compartment, whether it is anterior compartment. If anterior compartment is overstuffed, patient will have anterior knee pain, patellofemoral problem. Posterior compartment is overstuffed, then patient will have less range of motion. Range of motion is not the job of prosthesis, high flex design, it is more of high. It is the job of good surgery. अगर आप अच्छी सर्जरी करें, दोनों कंपार्टमेंट ठीक है, patient will have 130 degree of range of motion. And static quadriceps, जिसमें लोग ध्यान ही नहीं देते, even सर्जन भी ध्यान नहीं देते हैं. This is very important. After the total knee arthroplasty, patient को ये बोलना है, just you contract the quadriceps. प्रयोग में बहुत अच्छी तरह उसको बता दो. मैं केवल राउंड ही इसी के लिए लेता हूँ. 3 days in a week in the evening for my patient. ये static quadriceps कर रहा है कि flexion तो आ ही जाता है. Flexion तो आना ही है, उसको तो कोई रोक ही नहीं सकता. Flexion deformity develop नहीं होने देना है. उसके लिए static quadriceps exercise is most important. Even when patient is having good quadriceps strength, gait and posture बहुत अच्छा होता है. आप ही खुद करना शुरू करो और 15 दिन बाद देखो आपके gait and posture में फर्क आ जाएगा. Thank you. Any question? Very easy.
Leave aside the inflammatory. In regular knees,
Regular it should be full correction.
or 5 degrees extension.
Yeah, it should be full correction in osteoarthritis. I told for the inflammatory. Now I do not do. When I started my career in 2000 as an independent arthroplasty surgeon, I was working with Professor Bhan. Dr. Bhan 2006 में चले गए तो उन्हीं की शागिर्दी में सारा होता था. Then when I started, I was doing like that. Now I stopped this. Even then, there is no problem at all. जैसे drain का हुआ, everybody puts drain. मैंने डर के drain को डालना बंद किया तो hematoma ना बन जाए, infection ना हो जाए. तो पहले मैंने less BIP, sorry to say, less BIP patients में डालना बंद किया. Let me see. Honestly speaking. मैंने देखा ये तो सब ठीक चल रहा है और 6 months I observed in the hip totally. फिर इसके बाद blindly every patient now no patient gets drained. Except unless patient बहुत लंबी सर्जरी चल रही है, revision है, then I put it. It is if now I close in the flexion, I good cementing, I do not pressurize जो भी करना है उसी समय करना है. उसको extension में pressurize till cement sets in. Now I do it. I waste basically I waste 5 to 10 extra cut that I do not have. Even it is not bleeding.
And after cementing, you open the toolkit and check all bleeders.
Yeah.
And then close it. Take a wash.
Even during when you expose the joint, आपको पता है कि ये bleed. You may spend 5 to 10 minutes more. उसको bleeder पकड़ो, फिर sponge लगाओ. So मैंने शुरू किया था, thesis भी दी, thesis करा भी दी, तो उसमें अपने जो comments हैं वो बीच वाले हैं.
On
Now once again I have started using.
an average जब आप toolkit
और हमारे anesthetists भी इतने अच्छे नहीं होते हैं. वहाँ मैंने शुरू इसलिए किया था, I visited Beth Israel Hospital. तो वो बहुत ही आराम से मैंने कहा कि ढूंढ के कि बिना कैसे होते ये मेरे anesthetists की वजह से.
look at.
हाँ.
And when you were putting drains, how much was the average like suction drain?
Success rate, it depend on it, maybe 200 in first day 200, 400, 200 के आसपास तो रहता ही था. और after the stopping the drain, patients are more energetic because blood loss कम होता है. ड्रेन डालने से और ब्लड लॉस बढ़ता है। अब दिस इज अवर ऑडिट फ्रॉम माय डिपार्टमेंट। नंबर ऑफ ट्रांसफ्यूजन हैज कम डाउन heavily. I put tranexamic acid as well. Tranexamic acid is wonderful drug.
And you just pour in the jar.
हाँ yeah, like a steroid. Joint को आपने close कर दिया, then I put 1 gram tranexamic acid. I close करने के बाद tranexamic acid जैसे steroid prick करके डाल देते हैं।
And what was the protocol of removal of the drain out when you were putting it? Now you are not putting it.
And around the third day, most of the time it is less than 50%. Third day.
It's not the amount of what is coming out that we will decide.
Most in majority, अगर third day भी ज़्यादा आ रहा है, then I will go up to 4 days.
ज़्यादा मतलब
More than 50 है,
50
around 100 ml पता लगा आज आपने clean morning में around लिया, उसके बाद में फिर 100 आएगा. Then I may increase that duration.
Thanks.
Just wanted to add one more on. The only difference is I do not deflate tourniquet unless I put a compression bandage. There are two major stores once you have put your cement on the surface. If you remove lateral meniscus, you will always find a pedicle, a vascular pedicle, the opening in the femur. Always a good chunk of bone we put it, even if it's slightly bigger, you can always hammer it.
Yeah. It should be press fit, so there is a no.
And when we remove excess part of the cruciates after taking, because I'm a PS surgeon, I use PS in almost all cases. So I use coagulation to cut those posterior PCL. There is a large vessel. These are 2 or 3 areas. Take care.
Popliteal area.
I don't think you need brain. That's what my, and I think, and how did we stop using brain? After starting using cyclocapron, we were giving brains. Next morning we go, there is no blood. So we stopped, then we thought, what is the fun of using these days? Because another worry is, your associate going there after 48 hours and removing the drain. Now you're not very sure because fellows keep on changing. So you do train them, so we stop. Why not to stop using drain? We stop it.
Rather than using other things, cyclopropane works and phenomenally well. That's the brand.
From this country. I honestly speaking, मेरे को बोलते थे बहुत छोटे हो अभी मत बोलो इतना अभी बंदी हो और मैंने लेकिन अगर वो मर गया था मैं जिंदा हूँ On so many accounts in this country, I was standing alone on so many things, not only apparel issue. अब मेरे को बहुत सीनियर लोग फोन करते हैं यादव यार तेरे लेक्चर के बाद मैंने स्टॉप कर दिया है पेरिंटर यूज. I use selectively, like medical कोई ग्राउंड है उसका है ना ना so many पद्मश्री अवार्डी दे से यार यादव उस दिन लेक्चर मैंने तेरा जो सुना था I've stopped using. So many, even Dr. Maheshwari from me also told यार मेरे को 100% वो इतना हाइप उन्होंने क्रिएट किया हुआ है. I do हर हफ्ते कोई ना कोई डिब्राइडमेंट नी वॉश होता था. I ना हम लोगों का पेशेंट एक बार कर दिया never ever go to नी either 1 or 2 patient in a year.
Sir, in a knee replacement, knee replacement, do you use splints in post-op? And for how long?
Yeah, that simple, that long like a sprint for 1 or 2 days. But if patient is having flexion deformity, like as I told you, table पे छोड़ देते हैं inflammatory, then it
2 days is not justified. See the cause.
it is the patient have most of less pain if it is immobilized. Second day, in between we start mobilizing the patient, flexion and weight gain. And splint is very important for the patient. जो patient बहुत elderly है, muscle power weak है, या बहुत deformed है, जो लंबे टाइम कर देता हूँ, ये सब बोलना ज़्यादा होता है, जमीन पे रहना चाहिए. मैं बहुत deformed patient, very elderly patient, very obese patient, मैं उसको चलाता हूँ second day से, but with splint on. Then patient may have chances of less fall, less problem. Patient more confident. उसके बाद उसको आदत ब्रेन में रजिस्ट्रेशन होता है चलना भी. अगर आप चलने नहीं हो ब्रेन का वो रजिस्ट्रेशन सेंटर ढीला हो गया तो गिर पड़ेगा, कुछ हो जाएगा. उसको मोबिलाइजेशन का मना नहीं कर रहा, बट ब्रेस के साथ चलाओ.
So not in all cases.
Not totally, not totally.
पोस्ट ऑफ इको स्प्रे रेगुलरली देते हैं
Regular.
वो
It is
हाफ टेबलेट.
अरे वही तो विटामिन है, वैसे ही खाना चाहिए. हम सबको बताते हैं गाइडलाइंस से यार सब लोग वो खा लेते हैं.
So because these topics will be, there are many lectures, I think will be repeated and everything. and but they may not catch Dr. Yadav later on. That's why I have this question.
I am here.
Fine.
I am with
So,
them.
sir, about DBT, I tell you, I fully agree कि मैं भी बहुत बार आगे अकेला खड़ा होता हूँ क्योंकि मैं जमीन से सोचने की शुरू करता हूँ। ये स्टोरी जिन लोगों को नहीं मालूम है, मैं आपको स्टोरी बताऊंगी DBT की। Till 2004, we all know, it was only ACCP, American College of Chest Physicians.
Just physician.
जो those who were responsible for forming the guidelines.
They given guidelines.
इंडिया की कोई गाइडलाइन ना रूमेटॉइड में होती है ना कहीं होती है, it is American guidelines. So ACCP was responsible for guidelines, making guidelines for us.
To force us to
हम लोगों के
use
लिए,
their
हम लोगों
guidelines.
के लिए, क्योंकि उनको उस वो कहते थे ये ब्लीडिंग ही नहीं है, जो वेट ड्रेसिंग हम देखते हैं, जो हमारा वुंड यूज करता है, for them this was not a bleeding at all. They wanted जब तक मेलिन ना हो, हेमेटोसिस ना हो, तो वो ब्लीडिंग नहीं है. So ultimately इतना ज़्यादा प्रेशर हो गया कि 2007 में देर बाद रिवॉल्ट AOS, enough is enough.
EOS 2010 में चेंज हुआ, मैं पहले से ही चेंज था।
सर हाँ, आप बता दीजिए. तो 2007 में
मैं 2006 से अपोज कर रहा हूँ। मेरे डिबेट में लेक्चर से IAA और इंटरनेशनल
Now you got the support
इन
of
फ्रंट ऑफ राणावत के सामने मैंने बोला हुआ है।
2007 में
मैं करता हूँ, he uttered not a single word against my
2007
statement.
में AOS made their separate group. They went it and came out with अपनी गाइडलाइंस लाई. मैं बहुत ही ब्रीफ में कर रहा हूँ वो लाइन में. And that is called.
मेरे पास इसके ऊपर पूरा लेक्चर है। If you are interested, if we have time,
आज मेरा भी है, मैं उसी का बता रहा हूँ.
I
And that
can
is
deliver
called.
full lecture over
That is
this.
called theory of stratification. That means.
Yes. I think the water
He is protected. I'm not. He is working in a very premium institute and nobody can touch it.
करते थे GTV में आप भी।
Till that actually how I change.
तो इक्विपमेंट आप यूज एज कुछ ना कुछ यूज करना चाहिए। दैट आई है। मैं बहुत बड़ा लेक्चर है, इतना बताऊंगा आपको।
Yes.
10 मिनट में इफ यू वांट आई कैन क्लियर ईच एंड एवरी डाउट। मैं इस पे पूरे दुनिया में बोला हूँ
I think we are getting ready.
एंड वी हैव टू फैंटास्टिक
The defect on the tibial side, and gradually because of the chronic virus, there is stretching of the lateral collateral ligament in the knee. So whenever we are dealing with the virus knee, we have to correct the contracture on the middle side of the knee. Along with we have to compensate something for the lateral laxity of the knee. In the virus knee, as the tibial deformity is basically more on the tibial side compared with the femur. As the virus increases, because of the defect in the tibia increases, the posture slope of the knee gradually changes. Clinically, we can define the virus deformity into the two types, correctable or rigid. Because in the correctable deformity, we do not require so much soft tissue release on table. But in the rigid deformity, we have to go with the proper medial soft tissue release. Patient with the virus deformity with the bone defect, we have to keep some options ready to augment the bone defect. The aim of total knee arthroplasty in the virus knee, the principles remain same. Starts with achieving the proper mechanical hip, knee and ankle axis. We have to balance the knee first in the extension followed by the flexion. We will be able to see the same in the following live surgery. We have to manage defect and we should avoid the complications like the instability in the knee. It's very difficult to decide how much soft tissue release we will need because it varies with each and every knee. We have to start with the release of the superficial medial collateral ligament, release the medial collateral ligament, dislocate the tibia and remove all the osteophytes which are basically on the tibial side and also remove the osteophytes onto the femoral side. In the severe deformity, if needed, we can release the middle collateral ligament around 5 cm from the joint line. The soft tissue release should be followed by the tibial cut. Ideal tibial cut should be 90 degree perpendicular to the mechanical axis of the tibia, and the femoral cut should be also perpendicular to the mechanical axis of the femur. These cuts should be followed by putting of a spacer. After putting spacer, if still you are having any contraction on the middle side, again release the middle collateral ligament. By end of the balancing in the extension, your knee should be mildly open, medially and laterally in the symmetrical way. Balancing of the knee in the extension should be followed by the balancing of the knee in the flexion. The balancing of the knee, the flexion is very important step because it's a key to achieve good flexion, it's a key to achieve good walking ability, and the sizing of the knee in flexion, it will open up the flexion space. If you are able to undersize your femur, then you will put a thick insert, then again you will end up with the fixed flexion deformity. So you need to precisely balance your flexion and the extensor gap in your knee. You can see there is a one metaphysical beat. This week was a metaphysical beat. Because of the chronic varus deformity, the medial tibial bone usually the medial tibial bone usually is having somewhat overgrowth. If you do the osteotomy or if you under-resect this medial bone, you are having two advantages. One, you are decreasing the pressure on the whole medial soft tissue sleeve. So you are able to correct your deformity in the most of the cases. You just have to lateralis your tibia, just remove all the remaining bone, and after doing this osteotomy, you should go for the sizing of the femur, because if you are removing this bone after doing trial, then you will ultimately lead up with the instability in the flexion in patient. In the severe deformity, after doing trial, if you still feel your knee is tight in flexion, you can just go with the bicusping technique of the middle quadrant ligament, in which either you can put a lamina spreader or put a triad, and with either help of the 11 number plate or with the needle, you just do bicusping of the MCL. But this is a very, very sensitive technique. If you will injure your middle quadrant ligament, then you will ultimately end up with the opening of the flexion space. So you just can bicusp the entire fibers of the middle quadrant ligament into the severe deformities in the knee. In most of the cases, varus deformity which are correctable, which are not having any good bone defect, only with the medial routine soft tissue release and only with the standard bone resection, you can just come out with doing total knee. But you have to identify, if your patient is having the bone defect, then you have to see your bone defect is either contained or non-contained, and you have to precisely decide your bone defect is less than 10 mm, between 10 to 15 mm, or it is more than 15 mm. If any bone defect is less than 10 mm, just take your TBR cut, prepare your tibia. In most of the cases, after taking your TBR cut, you are able to get your proper medial tibial surface, sclerotic surface, in which you can just put a drills and you can go with the posterior stabilized knee. But patient with the bone defect more than 10 mm, you should give options of the stem, augments, ZD on taper before surgery. Patient with the bone defect between 10 to 15 mm, again start the surgery with the same principle. Take the first TBR cut, lateralize your tibia, downsize your tibia, and if the remaining defect is less than 5 to 7 mm, you can just fill the bone defect with bone cement. If needed, you can anchor your tibia with stem, and you can go with the posterior stabilized knee. But if your bone defect is more than 50 mm, then you need to reconstruct your tibial defect either with the bone graft or with the augment. This is the one video. Just take your first primary tibial cut. Check your alignment. If possible, put a stent. Prepare your tibia first. This is how you will undersize the defect. Undersizing will decrease the size of the defect in most of the patients. Put the stent, put a tibial trial. Then again recheck how much defect you are having. This is the one technique of a step-cut osteotomy of the middle tibial defect. Instead of putting oblique cut, just make a right angle cut with your tibia. And if you are using the PFC sigma, if you are able to get a good bone from the femur, you can put same cancellous bone graft onto the tibia. If your graft is very big, you can just fix it with a screw. Then again put a trial. Just cement your tibia. And these are the posterior axis of the patient. Now, why we are putting stem when we are putting bone graft? Because this stem will offload the initial calcareous graft from a couple of weeks before it is getting incorporated with the host bone. In most of the patients, you can see full union by end of the 3 to 6 months. This is another case in which the severe deformity is corrected with the stem and the bone graft. But these bone graft, they are also having their own complications like fragmentation. Graft may reabsorb over a period of time. Infection is also there, but it's very less. And non-union. Non-union can also occur because you are putting your cancellous graft onto the sclerotic bone. So in the patient with the severe deformity, in the bone defect more than 15 mm, another option is having, you can also use a tibial augment. If your patient is having the bilateral severe deformity with the bone defect, then instead of using a graft, you can use an augment, because with the augment, you are not supposed to wait for the union of the graft. You can start weight bearing from the second day of the surgery. This is one example in which the patient was having the severe deformity. After taking the tibial cut, just make a stapler to the cheeks and you can put the augment. This is the post-op X-ray of the patient. Now, it's always important which implant you want to use, because we are getting a deformity from mild, moderate, severe. We should try to use the constraint as little as possible, because whatever constraint you are using means if you are using a constraint joint, if you are using a hinge joint, the longevity of the knee is going to decrease. So you should try to use as much constraint as possible in most of the patient. But patient with the severe deformities, with the severe ligament instabilities, you have to keep option of the particular constraint condyle knee ready on table. A patient with the severe deformities, with the severe laxity, you can use a hinge knee in some patients, but some patients we are not getting looking in our practice. Now, what are the complications in the varus knee? The complications occurs because of the either over-release or the instability in the knee. If we are not able to balance our knee properly, we are not able to release it properly. So, because of the under-release, there is a lateral laxity. Lateral laxity can be either in the extensor or in the flexion. In such cases, we need to use a constraint knee. In some patients, there is a difference in the balancing between the extension and the flexion rate. So your knee is properly balanced in one plane, but your knee is not balanced in the extension in another plane. And your patient is not able to go for the movement properly. In the severe laxity, as you are cutting either tibia more, or you are cutting femur more, or you are putting a more thickness of the insert, you end up with the elevation of the joint line in patient. Because of the severe, so much of tissue release, there is a significant ligament and soft tissue injury, and hematoma formation is also there in the severe deformities. This is one of my patients having the severe deformity on the both side. See, it's very easy to use a hinge knee in such patient, but we are doing so many complex in our hospital, and in most of the cases, we are able to do such surgeries with simply posterior fixation. For such deformity, we usually give knee brace for a couple of weeks. Still, we are not confident for the proper recovery of the knee. This is the same patient. Just to convey message, such deformities can be tackled only with the posterior stabilized knee. If your technique of the knee balancing is proper, you are not supposed to use constraint or hinge knee in such patient. To summarize, the correction of the varus deformity, the correction of the bony deformity in on planes, all planes, start with the standard medial release, remove osteophyte from the femur and then from the tibia. I am a tibia first surgeon. I usually take the tibial cut first, release the posterior corner of the knee if needed, balance the knee in the extension, correct the deformity in the extension first, either with the undersizing or the reduction osteotomy of the tibia. If need, you can go with the bypassing of the middle collar ligament. Then balance your knee in flexion, fill the bone defect either with bone cement, bone graft or metal augments. Avoid instabilities, and if needed, don't hesitate to use constraint joint on table with severe deformities. Thank you.
We have time for questions.
Summarize the correction of the varus deformity, the correction of the bony deformity in on planes, all planes. Start with the standard medial release. Remove osteophyte from the femur and then from the tibia. I am a tibia first surgeon. I usually take the tibial cut first. Release the post-operative corner of the